Thank you to Squarespace for sending us to CES 2017. For the past few years, getting excited about a motherboard has actually been a little difficult. Other than like adding on RGBs and a few extra fan headers, there hasn't been a ton that they've even been able to do because the chip manufacturers, AMD and Intel, have taken a lot of the work onto themselves and moved everything onto the chip. But I think they might have figured it out with the Maximus 9 Extreme. This is an amazing freaking board. And not just because everything lights up in whatever freaking color you want. There's a ton of other cool things as well. It comes with water cooling built onto it right away, but not just water cooling. Water cooling with a built-in flow rate meter in the block and leak detection. These little rings around the main G1/4 inch slots will actually detect if there's a leak and will send information to your computer to a user configurable shutdown timer. Whew, cool. But that's not it. That's not it at all. Below that, there's an extra little panel. If you remove the screws on that, there's an M.2 slot that is cooled by this little metal piece right here. So it's all built in, no need to point fans at your motherboard. And across on the other side, something that I really like. I hate USB 3.0 headers. They just, too many pins, the little tiny things, they suck. This right here is a USB 3.1 Gen 2 header, which will be available on newer cases coming up. I think Inwin and Lian Li are currently kind of pushing cases, and tons of other people will in the future. It looks like a much better, more robust header, and I'm excited to use it. There's a bunch of other cool stuff as well, like dual BIOSes, 12 fan headers, most of which are in the bottom right-hand corner or upper right-hand corner, with one on the left-hand side just in case you have a back case fan, and one kind of in the middle up there. A bunch of right-angle stuff as well, a 4-pin Molex on the bottom so you can throw more power into the graphics cards, a right-angle 24-pin, which is pretty sleek, right-angle SATA cables, although those are fairly standard these days. And then one of the, now I'm going to call it old school, although it's basically current generation, USB 3.0 header as well. Two of those fan headers can be used to power your pumps, and they are labeled accordingly. And then just to the right of that, there's another header for another flow rate meter, just in case you want to have a second loop in your system. For audio, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see the SupremeFX S1220 chip so that you have nice onboard audio. And then that brings us to the I/O, where no stone was left unturned either. At the top, you have a BIOS update button, a CMOS clear button, 2 antennas for Wi-Fi, a DisplayPort and HDMI connection, 2 USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports, 1 in Type A and 1 in Type C, and then 6 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, Ethernet, optical audio, and a new audio bay. Now this is what we're used to. If you guys can see this right here, this is a standard audio bay where everything is just colored on the outside. This is the new bay. Notice how everything is just gold? That can be a little frustrating to figure out what you need to plug in, but no! They're all RGB lit, just like everything else on the motherboard. So in its default configuration, everything's kind of what you'd expect it. The one that used to be green is green, the one that used to be blue is blue, but you could change it if you wanted to. I think the Maximus 9 Extreme kind of redefines what it means to have an extremely high-end motherboard, and it's in the name, so it kind of makes sense. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you to Squarespace for sending us to CES 2017. If you want a new website, you can check them out. They have responsive design, so it works on everything without you fooling with all the different compatibility settings to make it work with every freaking browser. They just handle all of that with their beautiful templates, which is great. You can use their commerce module if you want to sell something. You can use their one-page cover page design if you want a beautiful, scrollable Web 2.0 kind of designed website. And if you use our offer code, if you go to squarespace.com/CES and use offer code CES17, you can save 10% off of your first purchase, and you can start building today with no credit card required on a trial. Squarespace, make your next move.